All right, welcome everyone. This is our February edition of the Leaders Priority Meetup. So you're welcome. I see some first timers today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here with us. My name is Kate Onokomaya, and it is my privilege to be your host today. This is the Leaders Priority Meetup. Maybe you're wondering, okay, what do we do here? Every first Thursday of the month, we come here as leaders to learn, to have conversations around issues and topics that pertain to leadership, especially self-leadership, because we believe that when we lead ourselves well, we can lead others excellently. So this is about us as leaders. What are we going to do to grow, to become better leaders of ourselves and lead others? So we have a teaching, and then we have questions and answers and discussions afterwards, contributions. You're welcome to contribute. You're welcome to speak after the teachings and after the short teaching. And we would love to hear from you, because we know that as leaders, we always have things to contribute. That's why we're here. We're here to sharpen each other, right? This is a platform where we sharpen each other. Iron sharpening iron. Okay, welcome everyone. Those of us joining for the first time, you're highly welcome. We hope you join us on subsequent editions every first Thursday of the month at 12 noon West Africa time. Okay, this meeting is being live streamed on the Leaders Priority Facebook group. So if you're not on that group, we will share the link to the group so you can join us and be part of the group where you can receive inspiration from time to time. You can also share inspiration from time to time, contribute, ask questions, and just interact in the group as well. All right, so today we are going to look at a very critical topic for leaders: time management. How do we build effective time management skills? You know, this is a topic where so much has been said about, and so much is being said about. We can't really say enough about it, because as we know, time is life, right? Time is the currency of life, like they say. We need to manage our time. But can we really manage time? Is that possible? Well, we'll have the discussion. Let me share some slides that I prepared for this session, and then we can have discussions afterwards. Just give me a few minutes. Right, so there we are, time management tips for a better you. Let's see what we do. We start with this quote. I saw this quote on, if you're on Brainy Quotes, or you visit that website, or if you don't, I'll recommend you go there, brainyquotes.com. They share quotes, inspirations on different topics. I get a lot of quotes, inspirations from there. So the quote is, time is the coin of life. It is the only coin you have, and only you can determine how it will be spent. Be careful lest you let other people spend it for you. Okay. That is by Carl Sandburg. So this simply means we need to be careful with our time, right? The quote is, the website is brainyquotes.com, brainyquotes.com. You can Google it, you find it. So Carl Sandburg said that. So today we're going to talk about why time management tips, a few tips dealing with time wasters, and then how do we manage your life, not your time. Okay. Let's start with the why. It's always good to start with why, right? Like Simon Sinek says, always start with why. Because if you understand why you need to do something, it will be easier for you to keep at it and be consistent. So why do we need to manage our time? I just put 3 reasons here, but I know there are so many more. So if you know of others, yes, you'd be welcome to share them at the end of this presentation. So please, or you can share them in the chat. Yes, you can also share them in the chat so that we have discussions around it. So for me, why do I need to keep my time in check? To spend my time wisely, to invest my time wisely. One is because I want to live a balanced life. And I do that because it keeps me healthy physically and mentally. And also it helps me to achieve peak performance in the things that I do in the different areas of my life. Because we live our lives in roles. We have different roles that we perform. You could be a father, you could be a mother, a sister, a brother, a child, you can be a teacher, you can be an employee, an engineer, or whatever role you play. Maybe in your local church, you're a church leader, and whatever roles we play, but we play different roles. So when we are able to invest our time wisely, we achieve peak performance in the different roles that we occupy. So this guy, Bertrand Russell, he says, the time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Actually, there's nothing like wasted time, right? That's what it means. Even if you think you wasted that time, something happened during that time. So there's actually no such thing as wasted time. Maybe somebody did something on that time, or somebody spent the time on your behalf, So there's no such thing as wasted time. We'll clear that. Okay, so what are the things we can do? We know all these things. I know we know some of these things. How can we manage our time? Few tips: time management, efficiency, set reminders, planning, control. Yeah. But what I have here that I want to talk about is the first way is to prioritize tasks and events and people, set boundaries, plan and schedule your days, your weeks, your month, your years, your life, delegate, learn to say no, and then take regular breaks. Learn to say no and take regular breaks. Okay, so out of this, the one that resonates with me the most at this time is prioritize. Prioritize, because you can set boundaries, you can plan, you can schedule, delegate, learn to say no, take regular breaks. But for me right now, it is prioritizing. And I'm going to talk a bit about prioritizing and some things. I learned something new about prioritizing just last month. It really lighted up my mind. It was just like a light bulb went on. And I said, wow, this is something I need to think about a whole lot and see how I can apply it to my life. It was a TED Talk I listened to. I can't even remember the name of the person. I should have written it down. I didn't. I can find it and post it in the group, on our Leaders Priority group. I will post that TED Talk in the group so that we can all listen to it. So let me share with us a few tips about prioritizing. That's what we'll talk about today. because we can find time to talk about boundaries, how to set boundaries, how to plan and schedule, how to delegate, say no, and then take regular breaks. These are areas that I would really love for us to discuss. But let's talk about prioritizing today. Now, there are 3 ways we can prioritize that I have seen. There could be more. Maybe if you know others, you can let me know. We have the Pareto principle. We've talked about the Pareto principle on this platform several times. And we had my friend, my brother, Odeyemi Olaiwoye, talk about a different way of prioritizing called the love quotient. So that talk is something that you need to listen to. It's on our leaders priority page. I'm going to highlight it so that we can all listen to that again. It's based on the Pareto principle, but from another angle called the love quotient. Well, the Pareto principle, it says we need to just separate our tasks using the 80-20 principle. So separate. You can apply the Pareto principle in different areas of your life. When it comes to time management, it is spend 80% of your time on the task and events and things that make up 20% of your life or your income or your business. So 80% of your time, you spend it on 20% of the 20 most important things, people, events, tasks that you need to do. And then we have the big rocks, small rocks ways of prioritizing. Always start with the big rocks. You know, the experiments where the professor, he taught his class about prioritizing. Now, when he started, he took a jar and he started filling the jar with big rocks. Well, he gave them the jar and he gave them big rocks, small rocks, sand, water to fill up the jar. And so none of them could get it right. So he showed them how to do it. Said, always start with the big rocks. You put the big rocks first, and then you put the little rocks on top. Then you put the sand, and then you put water in. That way, everything can fit into the jar. So start with the big rocks. One of my mentors, Ed DeCosta, he taught us this method of prioritizing also. Always start with the big rocks. Let's say you have your activities for the day. Always start with the most important task. You know, sometimes it's easy to start with the smaller tasks, with the least important tasks, because they are probably the things you enjoy doing the most. And it's easy to do those ones, right? So most of the times we want to start with the easy ones, but it is important to start with the big rocks, put the big rocks first. I remember when I was, well, I'm still in school anyway, but when I was in secondary school, and during our exams, they always told us, start with the most important questions first. The questions that have that have more marks. All right. So if a question, maybe the test is on 100, and you have questions that are 30 marks or 40 marks, and then you have questions that are 10 or 5 marks. So start with a question, with the 40-mark question. Then you start with the 30-mark question. If you are told that in school, please say that, post it in the chat or raise your hand. Let me know. Let me know. You learned that trick in school when you're writing exams. Tell me, did you learn that trick in school? Start with the questions that carry the most marks. I'm waiting. Who applied that technique when they were in school? Let me know. You can unmute yourself and say it. Who did? Or you can post in the chat. Ah, am I the only one? Sai, did you know that? Okay, yes. Okay, I can see. So Zolisa, yes, Zolisa,
I am here.
Patience, you did, yes. Fanny, you did, thank you.
It was a
Right.
question.
Okay, so when I was earlier in secondary school, we were told to always start with the questions that carry the most marks before going to the questions with that have lower marks. Like if you have an exam that was 100%, there will be questions of 30 marks, 40 marks, 10, 20, and then 10, maybe 5. So always start with a question that have maybe like 4 that carry 40 marks. Do your best on that question, then you can now go to the other questions. So basically, that is like the big rocks, little rocks thing. So start your day with the big rocks, the most important task. And I just learned this third one that I learned last week, as I told you on a TED Talk. It's called triage. Triage is from a French word, tri, and tri means to sort. This word is used in the emergency room in medicine, and it's really a means of treating the most critical cases first. So cases are classified red, yellow, green, and black. Red are the cases that are critical that you must treat. Yellow will be maybe they are critical, but they are of lesser importance than the red. And then green, there are things that, or there are cases where, okay, that one can wait. So if you go to the emergency room and you're kept waiting, it's because they've probably evaluated your case as a green. It's not a yellow, it's not a red. They will always abandon the green and the yellow for the red. Let's say you're being treated and then someone comes in unconscious from an accident with bleeding and everything. They will leave you and attend to that person because that is a red or probably a yellow. So triage is a term that is used in the emergency room, and it's something that we can also apply for our personal effectiveness. Red, those are the critical tasks that you cannot leave. They must be attended. You must attend to them immediately. Otherwise, something is going to happen. I don't know if we have medical personnel in here, someone that is familiar with this. Yeah. Yellow, they are also critical, but not as critical as the red. So those are the tasks that you can actually, put aside and attend to the reds. And then the green ones are, okay, it's fine. Let's take our time. We'll handle this. Everything is going to be all right. Black, when something is coded black, it means that is an abandoned case. Nothing can be done about it. There's nothing you can do about that situation. You're probably going to just, well, I don't want to say the word, but when it comes to emergency, when something is coded black, it means please just give up on that one because you can't do anything about it. So triage is a term that I learned recently. I'm going to post the TED Talk on our group page for us to learn from it as well. Now, let's see, time wasters. How do we do, today in the world we live in, there is a lot of distraction. So much is going on, right? And so much is calling for our attention, it seems. So what are some of the time wasters that we know of? We can post it in the chat or say it. What are some of the time wasters? Let's discuss this. What do you think takes up most of your time? The time your products that sometimes, yes, YouTube. If Fanny says YouTube, thank you. Who else? Social media, of course, social media. Jokes on social media, yes, jokes on social media. Reels, right? Blessing, you just be scrolling through reels and laughing. In fact, some people, the first thing when they wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is they pick up their phone and they go to reels and they start laughing. That's a very unproductive way of starting your day. Yes, jokes on social media. What else? Time wasters. What do you think takes up your time when you don't? It just takes up your attention and your time, and before you know it, wow, I can't believe I've spent 1 hour on Instagram just watching reels. Okay, so now I have sometimes sleep. Sleep can be a time waster. You know, your alarm is supposed to go off by 6 a.m. The alarm goes off by 6 a.m. You turn it off and you just turn and continue sleeping. Now you have activities that you've planned, your morning routine. Maybe you've planned, okay, when you wake up in the morning, you do your devotions, you pray, and then you read, you write. Okay, yeah, unnecessary gist. Amebo, yeah, amebo can take. Okay, so yeah, so sleep can be a time waster when we oversleep or we take extended naps. Gisting, you're at work and you spend your time, the time you're supposed to be working, you're gisting and gossiping with your colleagues in the corridor. Daydreaming can also take up some of our times. TikTok, yes, someone says TikTok, yes. Netflix, binge watching TV, binge watching on Netflix. That in fact is so interesting. This series is so, let me just watch one more episode, just one more episode. And before you know it, you have watched 10 episodes. And one episode is about 1 hour. You know, so that means you just spent 10 hours of your day watching TV. You know, that it sounds impossible, but that's something we see, especially among young people or maybe adults that enjoy watching movies. Yes, sorry, precisionist over planning. Yes, precisionist over planning, perfectionist. Yes, you want everything to be right. So you spend your time ensuring that everything is perfect, precise before you take action. And while you're taking time to ensure everything is precise, you're not conscious of the time that is left to do other things. Of course, procrastination. Procrastination, it can be a time waster. TikTok, yes, someone said TikTok. Kike said TikTok. And these things are real. How do we handle time wasters? Post in the chat. Let's post in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and say, how do you handle time wasters? These things that take up your time. How do we deal with it? You can raise your hand and also share. Go check Facebook. You can share you can share in the comment section on Facebook as well. How do you handle time wasters? Yes, Ifeanyi says, I set boundaries. I set boundaries, yeah. That's good. What else do you do? What can you do to avoid spending too much time? Yes, sir.
Okay, one thing I do about schedules is to do what I call containerize my time, like putting it in a container. This volume of time is for this particular event. You know, one thing about the time wasters, they've slipped into a lifestyle. They become unconscious. You put your phone in front of you, every bang, you look at it, and it can distract you, and you forget your train of thought, what you're doing. So I look at my time as in a container. So if I'm in that container, I don't come out of it until it's exhausted. Then that makes me to turn off from my phone or any alarm or anything ringing, unless it's really an emergency, unless you really come and bang on the door. So I containerize my time and make sure that whatever I said I'm going to do within that time is what I'm doing.
Right.
One way of avoiding being a precisionist or being I don't know the right word to use now, is if I'm in that container of time, I start doing what I want to do, what I say I'm going to do, you know, and I don't let the size of a container change my heartbeat, because if that happens, I won't do quality work. You know?
Right.
So that's one way of making sure that if I'm in that container of time, I am doing what I set my mind to do and turn off from every other thing until that time is exhausted. Then I reward myself.
Awesome. Thank you. I like that. Then you reward yourself. That is so critical. Reward yourself. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Adi, let's hear from you. You said auto-discipline. Tell us about that. How do you do that? Auto-discipline. Can unmute yourself.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm talking from Angola. So nice to hear from you, Kate. Just follow you for a long time. This is my first time to be here.
Oh,
I'm learning a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. When I say about auto-discipline, I have to control myself. If I say, you say about sleeping, for example, if I say I have to wake up at 7 or at 6:30, I have to wake up, even if I don't want, but I have to train my mind to do that. If I set a time for me to read, even if I'm doing something else, I have to come and do that thing. I have my auto-discipline. I have to train myself to do what I have planned to do. It helped me a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. That is amazing. You train your mind to follow the commands that you give yourself. That is discipline. Giving yourself a command and following through with it. That is discipline. And I like that. I love that, my friend. Auto-discipline. And, you know, it becomes auto after you have done it a couple of times and you've become used to it, and it's now a habit. That's when it becomes auto. And you just flow with it. It also requires that you get rid of the feeling of not doing it. You know, sometimes you don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like waking up at that time. So that happens to me sometimes. I don't really feel like waking up at that time. The temptation to turn off that alarm and continue sleeping is so great. But we have to train ourselves to get past that feeling. Okay, I'm not inspired. No, just take action. Inspiration will come later. All right. Thank you so much for the contributions. Yeah, Ifeanyi says, I set boundaries. So tell us about that, Ifeanyi. I set boundaries. How do you do that?
Okay, so I think it's closely tied to containerizing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have different tasks and then different importance. Sometimes you're carried away by a task and you spend too much time on it.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, there's a time to hang out with people, but when the time is, when you come to a certain time, it's always proper to excuse yourself.
Yeah.
Even when you're at work, there's a time for work. There's a time to say, I'm going to leave work, I'm going to come back home. So if you set those kind of boundaries, you find out that you're roundabout, you're effective on so many spheres, and you're able to be a more fully rounded person.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you. You set boundaries. You know when to stop. When to stop. I love that, because that requires a lot of intentionality, I'll say. So it's really similar to containerizing. You know how much time you want to spend on each task, and you stick with it. And you don't have to wait until you have, completed the task. Okay, let's say you plan to spend 1 hour sending emails. And after 1 hour, you haven't finished sending the emails. Does that mean you will just say, okay, let me just stay, because I haven't finished, let me continue. I just have maybe like 5 more to go, 10 more to go. Let me finish before no. You have to reset that time, because there are other things scheduled that you need to take care of. So if you don't work with your schedule, you cannot be successful. That means, like Sylvester said, precision is over planning, taking too much time, perfectionism. So really important. Thank you so much for all the shares. Let's go on. So finally, the last thing I want us to talk about is manage your life, not your time. Manage your life and not your time. Okay, that seems like a putting the horse before the cat, or the cat before the horse kind of statements, right? So what do we mean by managing your life and not your time? There's something about life and time. Time is life. Life is time. Time, you can't stop time. You can't really hold on to time. It keeps going. When you look at your clock keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. You cannot stop it, but you can control yourself. So you can really take charge of your mind, your emotions, and the feelings and inspiration behind certain tasks. And when we do that, we can say that we are managing our lives, and eventually it has a ripple effect on our time, because it takes self-management, self-command, to walk away from tasks that you enjoy. You enjoy watching TV. There is the TV series that you really love. You're watching it, and you're laughing. You're on Facebook, on YouTube, watching Amebo, like Blessing says, and it's 30 minutes. You're still there. 1 hour, you're still there. No, we need to be able to tell ourselves that no, this is it, and that is self-management or self-command. It takes self-command. My mentor, John C. Maxwell, says many people have uphill hopes and downhill habits. You want to succeed, you want to achieve great things, great performance. You want to do a lot, but your habits are not aligning with what you say you want to do. Recently, my mentor, another mentor of mine, Chris Robinson, he told us a lot of people put things on their vision board, but they don't really, those are things that the things there are not really things they want. Because if they wanted those things, you really wanted the things that are on your vision board, or the goals, you really wanted to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself, your habits will align. You will do the work necessary to achieve those things. You're not going to spend time on tasks that don't align, that don't matter to your vision, that don't really align with the goals that you have set for yourself. You will know that watching Amebo or spending time on YouTube, Netflix, too much time on YouTube, Netflix is not beneficial to you. So, do you really want the things that you say you want? Or they are just there because you feel, okay, these are nice to have. This goal is something that would be nice to have. This vision is something that would be nice to achieve. I would like to see it. But when you look at the way you are living, you look at your choices, do they really align? So these are the things that I believe when we manage them, we manage our life. And and that has a ripple effect on our time. When we manage our choices, our habits, our calendar or schedule, and our attention, we are invariably managing our lives. And that has a ripple effect on the way we spend our time. We will be able to choose the right things to do at the right time. We'll make the right choices that align with our goals, our vision, ensure that our habits are in alignment with who we say we want to be. And then, of course, your schedule is very important. Your success is found in your calendar, definitely. Then what are you paying attention to? So when we think about all these things, we handle this area, we are managing our lives. That's why I said we need to learn to manage our lives and not our time. Because when we manage our lives, we manage our time. All right, so there we are. Thank you. So I'm going to stop the share right now and invite us to contribute. Which one do you think, which one resonates with you the most? And what can we do about it? Happy, I have some coaches in the room. So happy. So talk to us. What do you do to make the most of your time? You can unmute yourself and share, contribute, or ask questions.
All right, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much once more again for this meeting today. And, actually, I came here in the name of honesty, okay, because, I know that when I saw, what you posted on Facebook about, the today's session, I said, that's really what I'm struggling with. Despite I have sometimes, like what you said, your mentor said, many people have high, great hopes, but their habits are not in alignment with what they're hoping for. And I said, yeah, that's quite really nice. And that's true, because I know sometimes, I train myself, and having also
Oh, I think we lost Chris. I can't hear him anymore. Chris, are you still there? Okay, so
Can you
okay,
hear me now?
yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, sorry, my internet was not good. So I was just asking, right now I'm not contributing now, but I'm trying to ask question if you get my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that a little bit, I was at church, I just came out and then I connected here. I don't know what you said previously, but I'm asking a question, how can I really be effective and then just get things done with a short, with a period time, deadline. I set many deadline, I tell you. So that's something that now I said to myself since 2 years ago, I'm going to finish. I did not finish them. I still have some courses. I did not finish them. I just started them. I have some things on software I was doing. I did not finish them. So I'm just trying to say, like, how can I get things done, not procrastinate, and not doing whatever. Despite sometimes how you have good choices, but there's still that gap.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Great question. Yes. Your hand is raised. You want to speak into that?
Yes, I want to speak into what the question he asked about how to get things done. The only way to get things done is by doing it. Yeah. You will say, what does that mean? If you set a task for yourself, you want to wake up by 5 a.m., you do that. You wake up and you want to cover one chapter of a book, you cover it. You'll be conscious of it. Be intentional. Be intentional.
All right.
Be intentional. Again, I used to do daily to-do list. I have a lot of things on what I want to do in a day, and it flows to the next day, keeps flowing down the week. Then I stopped. I learned, I think it was from my works of John Maxwell, to do weekly planning. Sit down at the beginning of the week or by the end of the current week. Say, what do I need to get done by this time? What are the 20% that I'm going to put my 80% time on? What are the 20% priority things that are most important? What are they that I'm going to spend 80% of my time on? Then I will write them down, that by the end of this week, I'm going to get this done. Then I'll schedule them within the days of the week. And one thing about it's just a guide. If I tell you that I end up doing all of them, like are we telling a lie? No, that's not true.
Wow.
So, but at least I get to the most important ones.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I get to the most important ones. Again, there's something John Maxwell taught in his book, in one of his works. It's about creating margins. Margin is the time you have between tasks. You want to go from one task to another, from one task to another. You're much more efficient when you have a gap. That gap now allows you to maybe move from one location to another. Maybe a set of time, maybe time to reflect on what you've learned, maybe a time to come back to yourself. So that will prepare you for the next meeting, because our life is not made up of just check boxes you tick.
Yeah.
I don't think our life is not just what you tick and go, but you come into a time container and you discharge your duties in that time container. And have, I mentioned rewarding myself. That's what I was trying to say. Have some relaxation. Have some, do something that will make you, they call it chargers, that will charge you up for the next meeting. What are your chargers? There are things that are drainers. There are things that are chargers. So what are the things that charge you up? It may be music. It may be talking to somebody, maybe calling on phone. It may be going to see somebody. Schedule them within your margin so that you're upbeat for the next assignment.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So does anyone want to add to that? That is amazing. I heard, yeah. Blessing. Okay, Ifeanyi.
Okay, just wanted to put in just something small. I think that in addition to what he said, you also have to learn how to say no. If your tasks are too much, there'll be much of a burden. You have to learn focus.
Yeah.
Focus is what we need to learn. Your tasks must revolve around one, two, three central objectives that you can point to at the end of the day and say, this is what I got. But if you're trying to do so many things for so many people, you find out you're jumping from one place to the other. You don't have conclusion, reasonable end or closure to one. So you have to learn how to say no. Saying no is a tool.
Awesome.
All right, sir.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Blessing.
I'm just laughing because it's as if you just took what I wanted to say.
Oh,
But I was saying, I wrote down, learn to say no. Know
okay.
when to say no. But okay, so I'll just add to what
right.
you said. You see, you can't be all things to all men. When you try to be all things to all men, you'll be overwhelmed. Sometime in the office, yes, maybe you are the go-to person in your team and everyone wants you to just do everything. And you want to be that nice girl, nice guy. Everybody comes and you're doing it. No, you need to know when to say no. And then prioritize your tasks. Give attention to what you need to do. Talking about the big rocks and the small rocks.
Yeah.
You can tell them to come back or learn to delegate. Don't do everything yourself because you will quickly burn out. So for me personally, I try to apportion time to everything, almost everything I do. Sometimes you can derail, but I try to have that guardrails in place to say, this hour to this hour, this is what I do. So I have disciplined myself over the years that I get to my place of work at least an hour, 30 minutes to 2 hours before work resumption time. And if I want to sleep, I sleep because I want to beat traffic. You know how Lagos life is. I want to beat traffic. I leave early. I get to the office and I sleep to a point for resumption time. Then I still have time to maybe take a chapter of a book to read or listen to podcasts or something that just appeals to me. And then I'm very refreshed. By the time work starts, I'm fine. I am not rushing because I'm coming in late and all that. I won't be late, but I leave early. The pain is there, but then, I mean, you will overcome eventually. That's how I manage my time.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. No other hand is raised. So many things to do, unfinished tasks. How do we handle that? Really, that's the question Chris is asking here. You know, I learned something. Let me just add something that is helping me right now is I learned to reduce the number of decisions that I have to make in a day. Because I realized that before I will put so much into my days because I felt that, oh, I have the capacity to achieve it. I have the time. But then I realized that it's less stressful for me, especially mentally stressful, when I don't have to think about doing so many things in one day. Before that, you see me rushing from one task to the other. In fact, I used to tell myself that I am very good under pressure. I work well under pressure. So I have to be under pressure at all times because I'm achieving, you know, but right now with the practice of mental fitness and positive intelligence, I am learning to to manage the decisions that I make every day. So I have fewer decisions to make. I don't put so much on my days anymore. I could just have like 3 or 4 tasks, main tasks that I have to do that day. And that is it. Once I've done it, I'm okay, I'm fine, and I feel more at peace with myself. So that's another way you can do. So you can go back to your list of unfinished tasks, really, and look at them. Some of those things on that list, they are actually coded black. They are coded black. There's nothing you can do about it. So just take them off your list.
Yes.
Some are actually green. They can wait until maybe next year or next quarter or maybe the end of the year. So you don't have to be under pressure to do those things right now. Focus on the reds and the yellows and manage them.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, so any more questions, contributions, something that spoke to you, you want to add? Time wasters, amiable.
Hello, Kat.
Yeah, Adi.
Yeah, can you explain more the Pareto theory?
Okay.
I went down during that time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask my fellow coaches here, Sylvester, to explain it, and maybe Blessing will add something to it. But Sylvester will do that. Sly, Pareto principle 80-20.
Well, I don't know where you want me to start because, well, yeah, it says that, yeah, the 80% of your of what you gain is from 20% of your efforts. Yeah, the one that's actually very interesting to me is that I don't know how to put it now. Look at your mobile phone. 20% of the apps actually is what you use for 80% of your operations. Can you reconcile with that? 20% of what's available on your mobile phone is actually what you use 80% of the time. Yeah, 20% of the dresses in your wardrobe is what you put on 80% of the time. So that's just trying to, so in time management, it means identifying the 20% that are important to you that you spend 80% of your time to achieve. Yeah, if you can put 80% of your time on those 20% important things, that's how you break even. Because it's not everything in your to-do list that needs to be done. Yeah, if you have a to-do list of 10 items, what are the top 2? Focus on the top 2, put 80% of your time there. When you exhaust them and get them done, take the next 20%. That's the best way I can explain it. Maybe Blessing can do better.
Okay, Blessing will add.
Definitely, I can't do better, but I'll just say something. I don't know, the man that asked the question, let me just relate it, for example, to business. If you are a business person or whatever you do to generate income, let's say you deal with customers. What this principle is simply saying is that your top 20 customers, you might have 100 customers that you're dealing with, but the top 20 will give you 80% of the income or revenue that comes to that business. Is that making sense to you?
Yes,
Hello?
ma'am. It does.
Yes, that's what it is. So if you are a businessman or related to your life, whatever it is, just take 10 portions, 1 to 10, and we're saying that 2 out of all of the 10 will give you 80% returns in whatever you do. So if you take it, like I said, that top 20 customers will give you the returns. All of the rest might not give you as much as this top 20. So you don't need to focus your attention chasing the 100 customers. Give attention more to the 20. Be mindful, don't neglect the rest, because everything adds up, but give more attention to it. That's what I can say for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Sly. That is it. You're all on point. Yeah, very good. I like that. You know, when I was working in the bank, we used to apply that principle. You have every morning you will receive a list of your top 20 customers. Yeah, your top 20%, your top 20%. And you are required to communicate with them every day. Send them a message or call them every day. Stay close to them, check their balances, check their transactions on a daily basis. Why? Because those top 20, the 20%, that's where all your returns were coming from. You know, they are the ones who had the highest deposits and they had the biggest loans. So those are the people that were actually paying you. You have to spend time on them. And if it's, we needed to learn their birthdays, their wife's birthdays, their wedding anniversaries, their children's birthdays, and then send them messages, maybe cards or gifts on those days. And when we did that consistently, these people understood that they were important and they began to expect it. So if you fail to send them a birthday message on their birthdays, some of them will get offended and they will actually come, oh, you didn't send me a message on my birthday. Oh, it was my wedding anniversary last week. I didn't get a call from you. So, so it's actually important to understand. I know John talks about it in this way. He says, you have to know the required. He uses 3 R's. What is required of me? What is the 20% of things, task that is required of me, that I am the only one that can do it. Nobody else can do it for me. I cannot delegate those ones. Those are required of me. Then the return, 20% that gives me the highest return. And then reward, 20% that gives me the highest reward. So I will spend 80% of my time on those things. So required, return, reward, 3 R's. And if you have this book, the Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 by John C. Maxwell, there is a whole chapter, it's one of the longest chapters on priorities. And he talks about the Pareto principle a lot. He explained it a lot in that chapter. I was listening to him a few weeks ago on a mentoring call. And he said, when he first heard about this Pareto principle, he went and he got every material he could find about the principle and studied it. He studied it to a point where he mastered it and he began to apply it. Yes, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. So if you have that book, or if you can lay your hands on the book, you can check your local bookstores or on Amazon. There's a chapter on priorities where you can actually get a good perspective on this. Or you can go online, find materials on the Pareto principle and learn it. There's a lot about it online. All right, let me check. Yeah. Comments, questions, let's learn from each other.
Kate.
Yes, Adi.
Yeah, sorry. Are we going to have the link recorded so that you can watch later on? Some of us at the beginning were wasted time in our office.
Okay, definitely. Yes, I will send the recording to all those that registered, and you can also get it on the Facebook page. So you can check the Facebook page and it's there. It's always there. All our recordings, all the Leaders Priority recordings are on the Facebook page from previous month, but you're also going to get this recording in your email. Yeah. All right, no other question. All right, so this is a great topic and something that we're going to be revisiting throughout the year. I felt at this time of the year when we're focused on goals, planning, visioning and everything, it's important that we talk about managing our life. Remember, your choices, your calendar, your attention, your priorities, all those things matter, and we need to focus on them. Okay, so any thoughts, questions before we close?
All right, I just, want to ask the last question. It's a very simple question. When I came here, I got something about priorities. So what about, you know, when I just want to ask you a question between the planning and being intentional and priorities. Yeah, how can we like be more also effective in that area? How to plan effectively, how to like, I know from priority you can take the 20%, the highest ones, and coach, I think Sylvester said, being more intentional when I asked the question, the previous question. So how can we be more good at that, so that at least we can have being complete? I mean.
Okay, so if I hear you, your question is how can we plan effectively?
Yes, and also how to, identify and set things, like discover, like, when you've been saying that, in those days, you had so many things and you're just trying to accomplish everything. And at the end, you realize that you are not really fulfilling what you're supposed to. So it's because of maybe priorities, but now you say at least you have sometimes like 3 or 4, and then you are set, you focus your mind on those ones alone, and then you finish the things, which means like, these are the only things that matters to you, right? So so I am just, actually just like 2 questions in one. So how to, plan effectively and, set priorities, and also being intentional, like, according to what Coach Sylvester said.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So you mentioned Coach Sylvester. Let's see, his hand is raised. I don't know if it's to answer the question or another one.
I raised my hand before the question,
okay.
But I can speak into both of them.
Okay, good.
Kate, you mentioned the 3 R's, and I was raising my hand to actually emphasize on one of the R's. But for some reason, it will provide some insight into the question about prioritizing. Now, that R is required. What is required of me? What is the thing that only me can do? I do this even in my house. What is that thing that only me can do? If I'm not there, it's not done. Now, if I can identify those things, they become priority. Yeah, they become part of my priority. What only me can do. And there are very few of those things. What does it mean? It means that every other thing can be delegated. Every other thing can be delegated. I am learning a lot about delegating. I'm somebody who is from mental fitness. I know that what do you call it? I'm always anxious about, I'm too anxious about risks. I'm always thinking about things going wrong. And what does that do to me? I want to stretch myself to cover everywhere. Make sure nothing goes wrong.
So you're hyper-vigilant.
Hyper-vigilant. Thank you for bringing that word. So, so now I have started to look at what is it that only me can do. And those are very few. So the other ones I delegate and let other people do it. There's this rule John Maxwell put forward in that book you mentioned, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0, says that anything that your subordinate can do 80% as well as you, you have no business doing it. You know what? The remaining 20% are those.
Oh, I can't hear Sly anymore. I think we lost Sylvester there. He was saying something really interesting. Yeah, but I'm going to go to Coach Solomon is here. Coach Solomon is here all the way from India, and he's been posting some things on Facebook. So, wow. So Solomon, while we get Sylvester back, please, can you share with us here in the Zoom room so the things you've been posting on Facebook? Let me ask him to unmute. Solomon, can you hear me? You can unmute yourself, you're muted. Okay. Well, he's been posting on Facebook about this. Well, Sylvester is back, so I'll allow him to continue.
Sorry, I lost my network. Power went where I am. I'm not in my normal place. So power, power is not yet. I just settled with my phone. So if I go out again, maybe I'll come back. Maybe. All right. So what did you hear me say last, please? Can somebody remind me?
Yeah, if
Anybody?
your subordinate can do that thing, something that you're doing 80% as well as you have no business doing it.
Yes, thank you very much. So required, what am I required to do? That will put you in that mind frame of letting as many people as possible come into the scene and do those things that they can do that you don't have to do. When I talk about what I can do, for instance, think about brain surgeon. A brain surgeon, maybe you want to do a brain surgery, enter the theater. What is it that only him can do? You see that's a brain surgery that would take 3 hours. The brain surgeon may have only 10 minutes. That's when they have opened up the wound, control the blood pressure, do everything they do in a theater. Then he comes in for that critical thing that only him can do. He does it and goes away. Then others will take over, doing other things. You see, for a 3-hour operation, the critical thing that the surgeon does is 10 minutes. So can you do that analysis on your daily activities? If you can do that analysis, you see that you will reduce your pressure. You'll be able to see the bigger picture and make effective use of those around you. I don't know if I'm communicating.
Yes, perfectly. Thank you. So Solomon is here now. Solomon is unmuted. Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Keta. How are you? Good. Nice to see you.
I'm good. So good to see you here, Solomon.
Yeah. You sent. I just saw the message 5:30. So I felt bad because I lost 1 hour's talk. Of the session. Anyway, the recording is there, so I will listen to it.
Yes.
This is a very good thing, you know. I really like this session. I like this kind of teaching. It's a wonderful, and also everybody is contributing. I heard Blessing also shared some good thoughts, and even the one other gentleman also. Wonderful. I didn't know this. We just depend on Facebook. I think we will be missing out. So I thought if you can WhatsApp me whenever the sessions are there. Yeah, I can also share this in my personal page also.
Okay, great. Thank you, Solomon. So Solomon is a Maxwell Leadership Certified team member. He's based in India, and he's a very good friend and brother of mine. Yeah, so it's always good to be with him and share with him. He's been sharing on the Facebook group. You can go there and see his contributions. Okay, thank you so much. I don't know if there's any other contributions as this is a leader's priority. And yes, we have 1 hour, 30 minutes, but it doesn't mean we must end at 1 hour, 30 minutes. I don't like keeping people unnecessarily longer. Well, but if there are no other contributions, but this is our time, to speak, to learn, to share from our hearts. That is where we learn. Vulnerability is really the place of learning. If we don't learn to be vulnerable, especially as leaders, we will never learn. So, all right. And I can tell you this topic I can't say there's anybody that has mastered it 100%. We are all perfectionists in the making. I don't know if we will achieve perfection at any point in time, but we can achieve mastery. So mastery is closer to perfection. As we keep learning, growing, and applying these tips, and also getting mentored and coached on some of these things, we will attain mastery. And when we get to that point, of course, you will have more peace, more fulfillment, and you know that life is time and time is life. They are just intertwined together. And I think, let me just add something to this planning question Chris asked. I have the habit of planning in 5 years, that's 5-year periods. And recently, I started this in 2018. From 2018, I began to do 10-year plans. So your life is a whole. I discovered that if I focus on the bigger picture, on the long term, it will be easier to put things in smaller containers. It's like having this big vision, and then you now put you put them in smaller spaces. So I have the 10-year plan, I have 5 years, and then I have 1 year. Of course, every year I have to go back and review and look at it and see what has shifted, what has gone off the plan, because sometimes you find out that when you put things, when you visualize like that, some things that you plan to achieve in 5 years, you can actually achieve them in 1 year or in 2 years. And when you do that, they don't have to stay on that list. And as the time goes on, you keep adding and taking off items from the list. But that gives me a lot more space to think, to plan, and to achieve, because we can underestimate what we can achieve in 10 years and overestimate what we can achieve in 1 year. So it's very important that we start thinking longer term and plan based on that as well. So have your plans, great. Apply what Sylvester just said, very important. What is required of me? What is my 20%? I mean, if there's one thing that I'm taking out of here and that I am also going to sit and reflect on is, what is my 20%? What is actually required of me right now in my home, in my family, and what am I going to focus on? So what is your 20%? Determine that and plan around your 20% first before you start looking outside. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Blessing. So good to have you today. Yeah. I see some new names. People like Olisa. I've not seen Olisa here before. So Olisa, you're welcome. Kike, I'm not sure I have seen you here before too. Patience, I'm not sure. Solomon, thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you on the next editions of the Leaders Priority. Okay, I see Doris is on Facebook, in the Facebook group. So the next meetup is on March 2nd. And I am looking forward to having other speakers on the platform. In the meantime, if there are topics that you feel, okay, we need to discuss this, I think we need to talk about this, please let me know and we will schedule that. We can even look for speakers. I have friends and brothers and sisters all over the world, coaches all over the world who can help us with certain topics that they have expertise on. So please reach out if you think that, okay, this is something I think we need to discuss on the Leaders Priority, and we will bring in somebody, or we can come together and share around it. So good to have us here today. So have a fantastic rest of the day and week, and hopefully we will meet in the Facebook group. If you're not on the group, let me know and I will add you. Or you just go to Facebook and search the Leaders Priority. Request to join, we will add you. Okay. I will join that group. Yeah. All right. So thank you. Have a good day. God bless you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.